At this place in history, we're in Burlington's Old North End with Steve Perkins, the executive director of the Vermont Historical Society. Steve, this wonderful building is what brings us here this week.
Yeah, Mike, we know it now today as the Champlain Club, but it has a rich history here in the Old North End, and a rich immigrant history, so we're going to go inside. So we're here with Charlene Wallace, who's a board member of the Champlain Club. But this wasn't always the Champlain Club.
The community was first formed in 1891 with the Harugari Singing Society. That was a German group. After a few years, they were able to have the land purchased to build this club that we think was either built in 1896 or 1905, depending on what history you're reading. The Goethe Lodge, and it was a lodge that was part of a nationwide community of lodges. There were over 300 at one point. And this, we believe, is one of the last two social clubs remaining. The other one's in Connecticut. That lasted until the early 60s, and they opened the membership up to people who weren't German. There was a fire in 1972, and then in 1986, they had a crisis where they were behind on the taxes and couldn't pay their bills, and they put the building up for sale. Thankfully, no one bought the building. They built things back up again, and in 1996, they changed the name of the club to Champlain Club. The dance community has taken a strong leadership role. Starting last year in 2021, the organization has transformed to a nonprofit that will be open to all of the community. We're going to be looking for a new name that feels more inclusive.
We're here with Sylvia Holden, who has been a member of this club for a long time and has some great stories.
I grew up in a house down the street, and there were lots of Germans in the area. I do remember the club as being a haven for the neighborhood. And Saturday evening, it was the place to be, because dancing was done here, and visiting, and pool, and you could bring your family, and there were sometimes suppers. And I do remember it was like a speakeasy at some time, because you came through that little narrow door and you had to be recognized. Many members of the club were involved in some construction companies.
One of those that your own family had, specifically, I believe you mentioned one of your grandfathers, is why this lovely hall even exists.
Well, I believe he was one of the founders. I had one of my first dates with my husband had come to the club. One of the rules of the club was that you didn't discuss religion or politics.
Lola Houston, a member of the building committee, is showing us some other portions of the hall right now.
This particular room is used for dance lessons and piano lessons, amongst other things. And one of the things that is challenging about this also is we've got heating and plumbing issues. In this case, this room gets particularly warm and some of the other rooms get particularly cold, and you can't upgrade everything. So we're in the process of building an HVAC upgrade. We did do weather stripping here recently to try and keep the heat in. The building itself is very restorable and very solid.
And it does look great, even with, Lola, as you mentioned, other things perhaps still needing to be done. Even here in this room, it looks beautiful, truly does.
Thanks. We have a wonderful group of volunteers. So I'm really looking forward to having this place be a warm and really a welcoming place for a whole range of different activities. We are underutilized in the daytime. I'm really motivated to do the work and having the building last for another 100 years.
A former German-American social club reinventing itself at this place in history.